In Iran, thousands of people are taking to the streets against the government. They're chanting death to the dictator. What are they protesting? A whole lot of things. A punishing drought and shortage of water, sweeping blackouts, a dwindling economy, a pandemic that keeps coming back in waves. The Iranians are angry and they're braving bullets to demand basic necessities now. They're blaming Iran's supreme leader for the mess. Here's a report.
It keeps getting bigger. For almost 2 weeks now, people across Iran have been protesting. This week, the protest reached Tehran, the capital city and the seat of power. People marched out of their homes in what is being called the biggest anti-government protest in a long time. Reports say demonstrators shouted, "Death to the dictator." This is rare in Iran, a direct criticism of the country's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the Iranian establishment. In some cities, the protest became deadly. This is Khuzestan, where the demonstrators had to brave bullets. What has sparked this anger? What is driving the people of Iran to take on the mighty establishment? The headlines say it is the country's water shortage. But that is just the proverbial last straw. The reasons are various and many. Iran is facing its worst drought in 50 years. The water shortage is acute. It has had a domino effect. There isn't enough water in dams to produce electricity, so now there is a power shortage as well. Repeated blackouts, widespread power cuts. The pent-up anger against the ruling class is boiling over. More and more protesters are pouring out on the streets. Even Iran's oil industry is feeling the heat. Thousands of workers have gone on a strike. They are demanding higher wages and better working conditions. Iran's economy has been in the doldrums for a while now. International sanctions crippled businesses. Then the virus from China struck. For the people of Iran who were already suffering, this was a double whammy. Now they are chanting death to dictators. The protests have become too big to ignore, even for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He spoke about the situation in Khuzestan.
If the advice offered about the water and sewage structure in Khuzestan, and especially the sewage system in the city of Avaz, had been heeded, then we absolutely would not have been faced with problems we have now. The people have voiced their dissatisfaction and they cannot be blamed for all of this. They are upset. The problem with water supply is not a minor issue, especially in the extreme weather of Khuzestan.
Khamenei may have adopted a softer tone in public, but the government is trying to crush the protests with a heavy hand. 4 people have already died in the protests, and that is the official figure. Activists say the toll is much higher. The Iranian state tends to show zero tolerance for dissent. It is a policy that can also backfire when you cannot provide the basics. When people are suffering due to lack of water and power, a show of force is the last thing you should resort to. It could plunge Iran into a cycle of violence. Not something Tehran would want, especially when a new and controversial president is about to take charge after a dubious election.